Hello, San Jose. This is Dr. Osborne coming at you. Hey, I just wanted to check in with you guys. I know it's been kind of a long day. It was so much easier when everything was kind of sunny and everything was just beautiful out there. A lot of times, and all of a sudden we get a rainy day, and then like all of a sudden life changes there. So I don't know. This has been definitely a time of reflection, if you will. Um, and I just want to thank you guys once again for staying in contact with me. I literally had somebody drop a puzzle off at my house. Probably the sweetest thing I've gotten. Sarah, thank you for like all the four books that you sent to me and the nice cards. I've got Gail. Thank you for the nice card. I want to thank every single person out there that sent me nice chats and DMs and inspirational things. And so I think what's beautiful is that when I want us to all know is that a lot of times I've thought that it was all me, but I'm not alone. We're all one, right? We're all on one mission, one community. And so I just really want to thank you guys. And I just want to let you know that how much I appreciate you. But it did get me thinking about that, when we talk about, a lot of times we hear about these things called near-death experiences, right? And I think what's interesting is a near-death experience is pretty rare in the population. But what I've really realized recently is what's even more uncommon, unfortunately, is having what we call a near life experience, right? There's been this biggest struggle for me over the last week is you're taking your life and your purpose and actually putting it on hold, right? You're putting it on hold while you're in isolation during this isolation period, and just to try to pass the time and trying to really live my best life. But I guess my biggest frustration has been is that I'm facing one of the same thing as the rest of the country is facing right now, right? It's frustrating knowing that the decisions being made in regards to our lives are literally affecting a generation in so many negative ways. It's affecting all of our futures, and we've literally had to change our entire way of life all around the world for a virus with a 95 to 99% survival rate. So I'm fine. I'm healthy. And at the beginning of this time, I gave a class on how to bulletproof your immune system. And in this class, I discussed that when a person that is healthy actually gets exposed to any virus, even the COVID virus, nothing happens, right? We become what's called asymptomatic carriers. But when an unhealthy person gets exposed, they get sick. And when a sick person gets exposed, they get really sick or they actually die. The same thing with the flu as it is with COVID, right? So the good news, everyone, is it does look like we have eradicated the flu. After 60 years, really, without the flu vaccine, the flu has literally disappeared. Finally, maybe we got the best flu vaccine ever, or just somehow it disappeared now that we have COVID. And I guess that we didn't really need a vaccine this whole time to fight the flu. We just needed something bigger to actually distract us, or have something that's actually more profitable to put our energy into. So my mom called today, as all our moms do, and she literally wanted to find out if I was dying. And this is what I said, Mom, look, I'm not sick. I'm fine. She's like, honey, are you not worried? And I said, Mom, let me tell you how worried I am about this corona pandemic, right? I said, remember the swine flu, and remember the bird flu, remember SARS, remember Ebola, remember Zika, remember H1N1, and all the other pandemics that we were literally warned repeatedly that like their life is over? Me neither. That's because after it was all over, we realized it never really happened the way that we actually thought it did. Yes, people died, people are dying, and it's not from what we are accustomed to dying for, right? Most people, when we start looking at things like the cancer death rate, it's climbed by 2.5%. So this is the single largest drop ever, right? Check this out. The single largest drop ever, according to the American Cancer Society's Facts and Figures report for 2020. So when we start looking at, that 1 in 3 deaths of all people have been in people that are 85 years old, the average life expectancy of somebody in the United States, it's 78.5 years old. I mean, like literally people that have already outlived their average life expectancy are dying. More than 9 in 10 people with the coronavirus have an underlying health condition. And these are according to figures from the Office of the National Statistics, right? And in 91% of cases, these individuals had other health problems. And the most common were heart disease that was followed by dementia and respiratory illness. So we got to think about this. On average, people dying had roughly 3 other health conditions. And only 6% of the people that have died from COVID or died with associated COVID or died with a diagnosis of COVID, or you don't even have to actually test positive for COVID to have died from COVID, were listed as COVID as that had any other cause of death. So people in long-term care facilities, they make up 8% of all coronavirus cases, but 45% of all coronavirus deaths. And in Canada, they actually make up 80% of all deaths. So relax, Mom, I'm okay. So I asked her this, I said, look, if you have a garbage pile outside your house and that garbage pile has flies flying all around it, would you complain because the flies brought all the garbage? Of course not. The garbage attracts the flies. So what's my point? The point is this, is that bugs don't cause illness. It's an illness, it's an ill and weakened body that actually attracts the bacteria and the viruses. And that's because they know that it is where they're supposed to live, right? Like the viruses and bacteria live in a sick body. So keep your body strong. Keep a positive mindset. Live a healthy life, and make sure you get adjusted by your chiropractor regularly. Make sure your brain and your body and your including your immune system are fully connected. We'll do that next Wednesday, okay? But don't listen to those people around you that are trying to scare you and try to scare you into believing that you are weaker than you are. See, the real point is this, is that we don't need to fear bugs the way that we've been led to believe that we do. Because every day, I make a video really in part to help people do their part to embrace and trust that inner strength, that innate strength, that strength that's on the inside of you. So when you're told that you're inherently weak and you're defective and prone to illness and injury, and when you and your parents are told this and their parents before them, this has been told to you even before that you were born, and nearly constantly in the last year on television and newspapers and by your doctors and your preachers and your teachers. I'm going to suggest that you can become programmed to believe that you can't be trusted with your own decisions and that you actually need to be shown how to live correctly, right? Like they're going to tell you how to live correctly so that you can eventually come to accept some ridiculous situations and even restrictions. Many are starting to believe these things about them. Most only subconsciously, but it's not the truth, right? When you focus on what's wrong, when you focus on what's missing, and when you focus on a future that you don't want to see, shit happens, right? Sorry for swearing, but when you focus on what's right, when you focus on what you're grateful for, when you focus on a future that you want to see, and guess what happens? Shift happens. So I ask you, Mom, will you spend your time and your energy today complaining about and trying to eliminate the darkness? Or will you spend it trying to bring light to people? Do you have any idea how amazing your body is and how powerful you really are? I mean, regardless of what the television and the radio and the internet ads and the drug companies and the government and even your own doctors and, more importantly, and I'm sorry to say this, your own family have told you, guess what? You're not weak. You're not defective. You're not helpless. You're not prone to injury. You're not prone to illness. You're not prone to death. You are strong. You are well designed. You are well built. You are capable of handling most of the things that you encounter, and you're able to heal. And vibrant health is your natural state, is my natural state, is all of our natural states. You have the ability to heal. You have the ability to grow. You have the ability to be happy and to be healthy at a level that's far beyond what anyone has taught you and to believe up until now. But you do not need to be dependent on medications. You do not need to be dependent on chemicals. You do not need to be dependent on gimmicks or any doctor of any kind. You do not need to be afraid. And it's time to recognize and undo the lies that you've been told since you were born and to wake up from your nightmare, this nightmare that we're all in. And how do we do that? Well, it's time for me to give you some advice. And what I'm going to suggest is just 4 simple things. And it's not going to be a supplement, by the way, but the number one thing is begin by recognizing and trusting the inborn wisdom you have within your body, your innate intelligence, and know that you can, and for the most part, control and direct your own health in your own life. Number two, I'm just going to ask you to focus on the good in the world and moving towards what you want rather than always trying to avoid what you don't want. Number three, just make healthy life choices that minimize the bad stuff and maximize the good stuff. Number four, for most of our, almost 1,000 individual people that come to our office, this is a tough one, but see a chiropractor to make sure the connections between your brain and all the parts of your body are clear so that your intelligent life force can correctly comprehend and respond to everything that's happening both inside and outside of your body. Look, it's time for us to take our health back, right? It's time for us to take our life back. It's time to take back yourself. Look, I'm going to be in the office next Wednesday morning. I'm going to be there and we're going to help hundreds of people take their life back there. I apologize. I have rules. I'm trying to protect people, but at the same time, I just want to remind you of something that you told me when I was a kid. Mom, when I was a kid, you told me that when you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things change, right? Maybe if we just started to change the way that we look at things. So here's how this really looks in real life. And there was a Facebook Messenger conversation that was held a little while back, and I actually wrote about it in a weekly Wellness Wisdom, but I'm just going to kind of paraphrase and summarize it. So what she wrote, she said, I seriously need your help getting healthy. And I'm like, well, how can I help? She said, I need to lose about 150 pounds, and I just really have a hard time limiting myself as far as food. And I'm like, well, 150 pounds is a lot of weight. You say you have a hard time limiting yourself. What does that mean? And she goes, well, yeah, I just get so sad when I think about not having something that I want. And I'm like, okay, so do you have the amount of energy you want? She's like, no, that's why I'm messaging you right now. I said, well, do you have the physical ability to move and to engage in things with others, engage in things with and other people the way that you want? She said, no, that's actually why I'm messaging you. And I said, well, is your weight impacting your ability to work the way that you want? And she's like, absolutely. And I said, well, do you have the quality relationships that you want? And her response took a little bit of time. And she said, no, that's actually definitely a factor too. And I said, well, in being the way you are now and eating as much as you do, is it hurting your finances? Immediate response, huge. It's hugely affecting my finances there. And I said, so what you're actually telling me is that you really have no problems at all limiting yourself. She's like, I'm really not following you right now. I'm sorry. And I said, well, you told me that you have this hard time limiting yourself as far as food, but your obsession with food is actually limiting every other aspect of your health in your life. So as I said, you really have no problems limiting yourself. Her response was, okay, smart ass, cute, but that really doesn't help. And I said, well, look, I'm not trying to be cute. I'm not trying to be a smart ass. I'm just trying to help you, right? And I'm trying to help you and help you see that eating healthy is not limiting yourself at all. It's actually liberating yourself, because it's going to allow you to progressively be and do all the things that your current diet and lifestyle limit you from being and doing. There was a pause, and I responded again. I said, so what you actually need to do is actually stop limiting yourself. Do you get it? And there literally, once again, was this huge pause. And you guys know what it's like when you text somebody and they're thinking. Minutes pass by, and she says, and I'm like, are you there, right? And I said, well, and her response was, yes, I guess I never really thought about it that way. I think you struck a nerve. And that was definitely a light bulb for me, just that one moment. And I said, so what are you going to do about it now? She said, well, the first thing that I'm going to do, ready for this, is I'm going to throw out all the crap in my house and get some healthy stuff. Good idea, right? And then I guess I'm going to need some advice on what else to do. I said, perfect time. It's amazing how things happen the way that they happen. So I guess when you change the way that you look at things, the way that you look at things change. And so if you really want to change the way that you look at things, guys, look, might I suggest that you sign up for the New You Makeover. The link's on our webpage there. It's going to be in the comments below. I just want to let you know that I would really like to see you there. Our team's put a tremendous amount of time and effort into this, and what I do want you to know is that all the resources are there so that you can change the way that you look at things. So the things that you live, the people that you see, the world that you exist in will start to change around you. So until tomorrow, guys, this is Dr. Osborne. I just want to thank you for being who you are. And remember, you're brilliant, you're powerful. Just remember who you are, whose you are, and what you were created to be.